I think professors, I think education makes this fundamental mistake, and we're all to blame for it. We assume that people want to learn. We also assume that people are wanting to show up to actually do better for themselves, to want to cooperate. And we fundamentally forget that this is very difficult. All of these things are very difficult for people. And, I think the best people that are most informed about human nature are actually kindergarten teachers. I've said that for a long time. They understand what it means to actually be an adult because they're looking at what really people are doing inside and all of the emotions, all of the feelings, all of those kind of things are on the outside with young children. We have not learnt at that moment, we haven't learnt all of those things where, we to hide our emotions or to manipulate or to, um, be quiet about things. We haven't learned those skills at that moment. And so they see the gamut of what human nature is about from some people being very kind and generous and helpful to other people being kind of not so nice, right? And uncooperative and dealing with something that is going on inside of them. Now, you can imagine as we get older, we just learn how to, what we would say as adults, control those emotions. But another way to say that is we're just kind of manipulating other people because we have these emotions anyways. And people don't show those things, at least at the very beginning of when you interact with them. And so what you're going to realize and as you interact, most people that you interact with, they don't care. They don't want to interact. They don't want to do progress. They don't want to improve. They don't want to cooperate. All of those fundamental things. And it's a hard lesson that you have to learn. It is a mature lesson for me. It's a maturing because I grew up in a very loving family. And that's at the heart of it, despite the fact that we had an enormous number of challenges and problems and chaos and you name it. That happened in my family. My sister was murdered when I was born. My oldest sister was shot. Um, and we had a tremendous amount of, you know, f- family infighting and all of that kind of stuff. But there was my parents created this very loving, sheltered um, arena for myself to grow and to develop. And there was, six of us. Um, and we all kind of grew in different ways. And I think that's the fundamental thing. That's the fundamental reason why people grow and develop is that you have love. You can actually grow and do things. But, that's a different story. Many people don't have that experience growing up. Um, I could say that I wouldn't agree with 80% of the things that my parents did and do, but at the same time, I think that it was a very loving family. And that is all you can ask for. But that is very rare. And so I grew up in this world of saying, you know what? I think people are going to cooperate. My presumption was always, I think people are going to cooperate. I think they're going to see the future. I think that they are going to be intelligent enough to see if you just put in these little steps that we would get there. And the truth is, it's not the case. People don't see those things. It's not as easy as you think it actually is. And I think this is often where economics, for example, falls short with a rational choice model. Um, we think that people can dream of alternatives and be able to choose amongst these alternatives and forecast the future. But most people can't. We struggle with these things. We tend to focus on today rather than tomorrow. We know all of these things at this moment from a tremendous amount of psychology research. We also know in sociology that people often don't cooperate for various different reasons, for different things like social class and, social norms and all of these kind of things. Um, but what we can do is to presume coming into it, all of your situations that, hey, people don't want to learn, right? Um, B, understand that people don't want to cooperate. And then how do you design your world, your mechanisms, your life, knowing that that is going to be the case? And that is the challenging thing. And this is the hard lesson for me. It's a growing up lesson for me. And I've been doing it for 20 years now. Um, growing up, actually, I would say 46 years been growing up. But, it's been a long, hard journey of learning this that, yeah, fundamentally, I don't think people want to learn. Fundamentally, I don't think people want to cooperate. And what we have to do is come at it knowing that that is not the default and come at life knowing if that's not the default, how do I design my life and the systems around me and all of the things that mechanisms that I can engage with so that they will default into those things, regardless of what happens, right? So the default is that maybe people do cooperate and maybe people do want to learn, but that's only through a very intentional way of engaging and doing things in your life. And that's the hard thing. That's the challenging thing, whether it is with your own kids, creating incentives and tools to sort of force people to cooperate in various different ways. It's very difficult. We all have different personalities. We all have different views of the world. Or whether it's with work, where how you engage with things, just know that, yeah, nobody's just going to cooperate with this. And that is fundamentally fine. And I could tell you that just based on my experiences of doing things online. So you're good. This just tells you this. If you send an email, a mass email, and 2% opens it, 2% of the people that open it, you might be thinking, well, that's pretty low. Yes, that's pretty low, but that is actually what the norm is. So that means 98% of the people do not want to cooperate with what you're actually saying. They don't, even if it is going to benefit them and all of those things, they're just not going to do it. And this is true across all of the world, right? Like if you look at click-through rates, that's what they're called, click-through rates across different phenomenon, different advertising. It's getting worse, by the way. Advertising networks and, email systems and all that kind of stuff. It's somewhere in the range of 1% to 2%. You're pretty good if people actually click on something. And that's a click. That doesn't require a heck of a lot of effort. So even if they're going to benefit from it, maybe they will learn a financial book, for example, make a whole bunch of money from it. They will not click. So I'd encourage you to come at your life knowing just the odds of people wanting to cooperate, wanting to learn, wanting to engage. It's not very high. And if you come at life realizing this and thinking about life more in terms of these click-through rates and the fact that 99% of people will not click through, you'll be much more happier and you'll engage with things in a different way. So try that. Look at the world around you and realize most people do not want to learn. They do not want to cooperate. But how do you create your life knowing that that is true? Take care and have a wonderful day.